The following program is produced by the Tech Talk Radio Network.
All right, people, break out your notebooks and pencils and slide rules. You're listening to Tech Talk Radio with true geeks. And by the way, I'm Dee Snyder, and I'm a geek too.
And welcome to another episode of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn Weird.
And I'm Eddie Munson.
Wait,
I'm sorry. I'm Justin Lemmy.
Yeah, Justin, we have got to talk about the elephant in the room for anybody that's checking out the photo or the video cast of the show. You went all out.
I did.
Yeah.
So let me give you a backstory. So
right.
If you're not watching the replay of this, if you're just listening on the radio, I am currently dressed head to toe like Eddie Munson from Stranger Things. You know, the guitar hero at the end where he plays Metallica's Master of Puppets, right?
No, wait, I haven't seen the movie yet, so don't or the show
Not
yet.
a movie, it's a TV
yeah,
show.
I know the show. Don't ruin it for
The
me.
last episode was as long as the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, pretty much, yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like 2.5 hours. So yeah, no, I'm Eddie Munson, and that's the fan favorite of this season's Stranger Things, bar none. So the wife and the kid and I were sitting here thinking, like, what do we want to be for Halloween? Because Misa always wants to do a themed Halloween where we're always characters from the same movie or same TV show. And I'm like,
boy.
no. Eric was like, no, I want to be a Splatoon character from Nintendo, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, I don't want to be that. Neither does Misa. So we said, okay, fine. Let's be whatever influenced us the most this year. And Eric was like, Splatoon. I'm like,
Right.
okay, well, that's what you want to be. Then I said, I want to be Eddie Munson from Stranger Things because I absolutely loved his performance in the show. And he's such a great actor. So I wanted to be Eddie Munson. And then Misa decided, well, what influenced me? She's like, Top Gun. So she's actually going to be a Top Gun pilot. So she got the flight suit and got the aviators, the Top Gun hat. She's going to be a Top Gun pilot.
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of that this Halloween season. A lot of Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of Eddie Munson, too.
Now, by the time this show airs, I have finally seen Top Gun Maverick because it was made available for video on demand this past
God.
week. Yeah,
You're going to watch it in your house, dude?
that's my option. I got to watch it. I want to see it.
It's not, dude. Go to the theater. You're okay. Watching Top Gun Maverick in your home versus watching a theater is like looking at a picture of McDonald's double quarter pounder with cheese and you can't have it.
Well, how's it going to feel when I know it's there and I want to see the movie really bad?
Oh,
and I
you
don't
want to
know.
see it, and you're going to see it, but you're not going to feel it. You're not going to hear it. It was made for surround sound. It was made for Dolby Cinema.
Now, wait a minute. Now, you guys both have home theaters. Wouldn't you be satisfied watching it there?
Nope.
Shawn?
Yes.
Yeah. See, Shawn's got the setup.
Mr. Moneybags over here with the Dolby Cinema setup. Somebody who just had a kid and hasn't had to spend any money on it yet. Yeah, that'll change.
Now, what kind of sound system do you have in that, Shawn?
I've got a Onkyo receiver,
Those are good. Yeah.
and then it's running, 2 satellites up front, the center sub, and then the center speaker, and then two satellites in the rear.
You're just doing 5.1.
5.1. Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm
Yeah.
not doing Atmos. I'm not doing anything.
So Maverick, Top Gun Maverick was designed to be 23.1.
Whoa,
23.3.
really? Wow.
There's speakers all the way around you, 360 degrees with like 3 subwoofers in the front. You got to see it in the theater because you can feel it.
Right.
Like literally, I mean, feel.
I
it.
could sit on a speaker, I guess.
Like,
maybe
when-
that would
when
be.
they're- when
You
they're
could do,
cranking the
sure, that
G's,
would work.
when
Yeah.
they're yanking the stick around, like you feel like you're getting sucked into your seat.
Sure, you can watch at home, but you're not going to get the experience, Andy.
I kind of thought I would feel the same way about Elvis, and Elvis went on video on demand a couple weeks ago. So I decided, I really want to see this. I've heard good things about it. Everybody I know, and I wasn't the biggest Elvis fan in the world. I mean, I like his music, but I didn't follow him. And so I went ahead and I did that, and that's what they said. They said the sound in the movie Elvis is really good. I just cranked on my regular, 5.1, and I enjoyed it. And
So
honestly,
you got 5.1.
yeah. But
Okay.
the performances in it was what stood out for me. So I don't know, I
definitely
really want to
heard
see
that
it.
Elvis is a good movie.
It is. It is.
I haven't seen it yet.
Baz
but
Luhrmann
honestly,
knows how to make a movie. There is so much tech to talk about. First off, I think we should get to the real serious stuff. If you are an iPhone user, this past just last week, it would be that Apple. Well, first Google went ahead and did another exploit update where you had to update your browser, and they said it was urgent. And then surprising, and we don't get these too often out of Apple, they went ahead and issued what they called an urgent update due to an exploit they found. And it wasn't just the iPhones. It was Macs, it was tablets, pretty much anything running Mac OS.
It was the iOS. It was anything running 15.6. There were 2 exploits that were found that weren't just like, somebody called up a bug report and said, "Hey, I found this exploit." They were actively being used. That gave full exploit capabilities of your phone or your anything running 15.6, iPad, Mac, phone, right? Any of that.
wow.
So they released a update 15.6.1, and it should have pushed automatically to your phone unless you have it turned off to not do automatic updates. But I would highly recommend updating.
Even if you have
Yeah.
it turned off, wouldn't an emergency update override that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. I have mine set to automatic updates. I don't know the answer to that.
As soon as I got the word, I went ahead and ran the patch just to be safe. And it wasn't showing up as recommended.
Yeah, I mean, it was mentioned about a week ago, and the university actually put out an update, an alert saying we had to update all of our Macs that are running the current version of the OS to that version, right? To that 15.6.1. So it was big enough for the university to put out a cybersecurity alert.
I got Android 13.
Do you have
That's
any
a new
updates
one.
with that?
Do they still name them after like cookies and stuff?
They name everything after a treat, but I don't know what actually. It's interesting. I don't know what Android 13's name is.
Now, which you're running the S22, right?
No, I'm running the Pixel.
Pixel. That's right.
Pixel 6 Pro.
Now, would you look at the S22 as an option?
No.
No, you're gonna stick with
You're
Pixel.
you're pretty sold on the Pixel phone.
Yeah. I've had the Pixel 4, the Pixel 4S, Pixel 5, and now Pixel 6 Pro.
Yeah, the hard thing is some tech journalists have actually been saying that really, if you suddenly have to buy a phone, this is the worst time to have to buy a brand new smartphone because
Really?
well, with Google now having its Z Fold and Z Flip, and I looked at the Z Fold the other day, it's impressive. I mean, it is really a beautiful looking device. I don't know, when it's folded out, and it's it's almost like a tablet. And, then you close it up and then you could turn it and you've got your screen just like a regular smartphone. So if you need more, real estate when it comes to video, you could just open it up and you've got this almost like tablet-like feature on it. The pricing, though, is what scares me. But you've got that. And now you have Apple announcing it's September, I believe, 7th is when they're planning to do the next big Apple event where they'll be introducing the iPhone, what they say is going to be the 14. So
And iOS 16.
Yeah. So if you want to buy a new device right now is not a good time. Right now, because
I
there's
would
going to be new
argue
innovation.
I would
No,
argue
you
that.
can't buy it now. You got to wait because
Yeah.
it's not out yet. So they haven't dropped the prices of anything. So
Yeah. Now,
if you want that day one price drop, you're going to get a lot of carriers like Verizon and those types of things will drop their prices right after the release or offer a trade-in, right? Trade in your 12 for the 14 or trade in your 13 for the 14 because they're still offering really good deals on phones. My coworker just traded in his 10X and they gave him $250 for it. They're still getting really good deals on old iPhones that who knows what they're doing with them, but right, it benefits them to get old iPhones out of just recycle them and get people into new phones.
I don't know. I have a hard time
oh,
giving up my
well,
phones.
I would argue this point that you're talking about because
Okay.
right now, especially with Android, I mean, Google just discounted the price of the 6 Pro from $899 down to $299.
Well, that's pretty good.
I know that they're coming out with a 7 and a 7 Pro here in about a month, but the 6 and the 6 Pro are still very good phones.
Yeah, but
So
you're
for
going
you to be like, this is the worst time to buy. I would say it's the best time to buy.
No, I would disagree because here's what's going to happen. You're going to start seeing the Android devices from, Samsung and Google more in the wild. They're going to cut the price down of the previous models. So like,
That's
say
what Google just did.
So yeah, we'll see, Google's doing that now. For an iPhone user, you're gonna pretty much have to wait till after September 7th because you're gonna see the prices come down on previous models. But if you're stuck buying one and you're stuck in that, that iOS interface, right now is not a good time. And
That's
maybe
why
you're
switch
seeing
to Android.
Jeez, always a reason to upgrade.
Come on, you walked into that one.
Yeah, I guess I did.
I get what you're saying. I mean, there's a lot of people that use iPhones, and yeah, maybe that's not a good time for them, but Android is much better.
You know what I learned? You know who was one of the first celebrities, or actually first people to own an analog car phone, an actual phone that was in his vehicle?
Donald Trump?
No, Elvis Presley.
Seriously?
Elvis loved technology. So I did a little
Really?
research after I saw the movie, and apparently he was such a big fan of technology that he got an analog phone put into his car. Back then, it was all done a different way. And I don't know if it's done with radio, tubes. We're talking 76, 77.
They didn't have them back then.
They had analog. They must have had a way to do it.
Did they
Think
have
about
a guy with like a really super long wire of cable just kind of like reel it out?
No,
as
it
he's
would have
driving
been.
away?
It would have been done. It would have been done
Wow.
through radio towers. So you probably didn't get the best.
Military equipment.
Yeah, I mean, you probably didn't get the best there, but that's how it would have happened.
That's crazy. I never thought.
Well, think about it. Dan Tana in the show Vegas had a car phone. I mean, we're
I've
talking
never
at the
seen that
beginning
show.
of it all. All right, so Sean's got some info.
1956, the first fully automatic mobile phone system launched in Sweden by Ericsson Mobile. Each handset was over 90 pounds. Says pictured above. I don't see a picture.
Oh, whoa.
90 pounds.
Yeah.
Great.
And then 1965, a smaller version was launched, 20 pounds,
Right?
thanks to the use of transistors. And then let's see. The first commercial cell phone network was launched in Finland in 1971. It was called 0G. 1973, AT&T Bell Labs used the first mobile phone in New York City.
Yep, I remember that.
78, first trial commercial cellular network in Chicago.
Wow.
1982, Nokia introduces their first cell phone, the analog Mobria Senator.
Oh, analog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Used frequencies in the 824 to 894 megahertz.
Amazing.
1990, first digital network, the digital AMPS network, and then GSM.
Giving us the whole history there.
That was the first. My first cell phone ran GSM.
Yeah, that mine too. That's what mine
1991.
was.
That is when it came out.
Do you remember who the
Yep.
manufacturer of the phone you had?
Probably
Nokia.
Mine was too. Mine was
Yeah,
Nokia,
Nokia.
GSM.
Yep.
I bought a car back in the 90s that had a phone in it. Not didn't have service because it was just like too expensive, right? But I remember when I was driving back from New Orleans, I went for what they called the morning show boot camp. And I was driving back from New Orleans, and
What year was this again?
this would have been in the 90s, maybe 93, 94, somewhere around there.
Okay.
And I remember picking up the phone and finding I could reach an operator, and I could make a collect call with that operator. That was a
wow.
big mistake because I think our bill ended up being, because of the connection and everything else, it was close to $1,000 just for the calls that I made.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's like when I first got my cell phone. I had to be limited to nights and weekends
Yep.
because after 7 p.m., texting
Yep.
became free.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember that.
So my parents were
I
always
remember
like,
sitting
I
there
don't
waiting
care.
for 7
Don't
p.m. to
text
hit.
your friends. Text your friends after 7.
I'd get like 6:59. I'm like, come on. 7 o'clock. And all of a sudden, bing, 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 bing. All the text messages would start going off.
All right, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about password management. And we've talked about it before on the show, but it finally happened to me. I've been using Google as my password manager. So basically, when I go to, I can pull up a website. If I need to connect to something, it's in my Google passwords. Whenever I create a new username or new password, it's saved automatically. And about a week ago, I went to log in and it wouldn't, I'm like, my password's not there. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So I reset. Now I do have a master list that I keep, secured on a computer. And I wasn't
that's not good, dude.
on a computer with a password,
Still.
with a major password, like
Okay.
a hex
All right.
password. So yeah, I'm
Okay.
safe there. Anyway,
Okay.
so I'm trying to log in, and then So I go into Google under passwords, and I look, and I had 200 and something passwords that were saved in there. It was down to 12. That means they're all gone. And yeah, so I basically was like, wow. So I'm going to have to go through my master list and make sure which ones work, which ones don't, reset the ones that don't. But I'm trying to decide now. So I have a Norton account. I have a Symantec antivirus account, which, protects the home and the whole bit. And part of that is a password manager from Norton. And it comes with the account. And I'm trying to decide, is that the way to go, or is 1Pass probably a better solution? You guys have used password managers.
I really enjoy 1Pass. I use it at work. That's what we use as our password management for work. And it works great for that because we can share internally, we can share passwords between each other just by going into 1Pass and saying, hey, I need this password for this. I can copy the link, paste it to you in a Slack or in an email, and then it forces you to click on it, and then you have to log in to view the password. We're not allowed to email or text or write down and pass it via sticky note passwords. Right? It's a big deal for us. So 1Password's been great. After that, I got my own, which I use, and migrated all of our passwords from a password-protected Google Sheet to 1Pass.
Now, why are you so against that, Justin? I mean, mine is it's a password-protected sheet as well it's a graph, and I've got them all down there. But you're against anybody writing down a password in the computer and securing it?
Yes.
Why?
For one, if somebody gets a hold of that password for that spreadsheet, they have full access to your password.
But isn't that the same theory, though, as a password manager?
No, it's not. Because a password manager not only requires, if you're trying to access it from a different password or from a different computer, it also requires you to have the 24-character seed phrase.
Right.
As well as the master password in order to just unlock the vault. So it's not like somebody can just get your master password and access your vault from their computer. They would have to do it from your computer. They would have to be screen sharing your computer to theirs and access your vault with just your password.
All right.
If they try to install that and say, oh, I know his email address and I know his master password, that doesn't matter. You still, when you're trying to activate a new computer, you have to have that 24-word seed phrase. And so that's what makes it different than a spreadsheet.
Okay.
So it gives you that extra layer of security.
So somebody could get your master password, right? But it's not going to do them any good unless they have physical access to the machine you've already, or like if you've registered it on a specific machine, right? So.
Now, how many machines, like say with 1Pass, can you register it with? So if you've got a laptop,
I would have to look.
Unlimited.
Yeah, it's unlimited. So you have a laptop, you have a computer at your desk, you have a computer maybe in your bedroom,
your phone,
yeah,
your iOS app.
All right. So there you'd
Android
be able to use
app.
that. Now, is using 1Pass, is it very expensive?
No, I think it's like $60 a year.
Oh, that's not
that
bad.
much.
Is that the one you use too, Justin? Is that the one you like? You recommend that?
Now, I also want to recommend something. Though this is more for businesses. Now, I mentioned, Shawn mentioned that they use 1Password for work. What I use in my previous position, and now I've incorporated it into my new position, is a program called Thycotic.
All right.
And Thycotic is a virtual machine that can run in your ecosphere, and it is a secure repository for passwords. And it can actually use radius authentication to get into it. So you have to log in with your actual Microsoft account. So when you log in, it puts an entry, into the log that says, Andy Taylor logged in at this time. And then once you're in Thycotic, whenever you click on a password to look at it, it's going to create another log entry that says, at this time, Andy Taylor looked at this password. Oh, at this time, Andy Taylor copied this password. So it gives you that trail of an audit trail, so you can monitor. So, okay, we know that the firewall password was compromised. Let's look back at Thycotic and try to figure out who might have done that. Oh, at this time, Andy logged in, and right after that is when the password got compromised.
Right.
So let's go talk to Andy.
Okay.
So
that's
on the topic of cybersecurity, right? I actually had thwarted a potential breach of one of my accounts.
Oh wow.
I have dual authentication on almost everything, right? Especially my Microsoft account. So I got an email saying that somebody was trying to migrate my Mojang account, which is for Minecraft. I got an email. It said, "Hey, here's your you're trying to change your password. Here's your code." I was like, "That's weird." Well, then I got an email saying somebody was trying to log into my Microsoft account, and it was like asking for the two-factor authentication for that. And I was like, well, "That's even stranger."
It's a sinking feeling you get, right?
Oh, yeah,
But then I started
feel like
getting
you're hacked.
then I got a couple unrecognized phone calls that I picked up just because I enjoy trying to screw with scammers when they call me. And this is the activation code for your Mojang account. And it read me a number. So somebody was trying all of the different ways to get into somebody was trying to either get into my Minecraft account or my Microsoft account. So of course I went in and changed all my passwords, but had I not had dual authentication, they might have been easily able to get in to either both my Microsoft account or my Mojang account for Minecraft.
Wow.
So I think dual authentication is a kind of a pain sometimes, but it really can come in handy, especially when you start getting notifications like, "Hey, you're trying to log in here," and then it'll tell you. More specifically, it'll usually trace the origin, saying like, "Hey, it's trying to log in from this IP in Boston, Massachusetts, or wherever," right? So usually I can say, "Well, it's not Caitlin trying to log in," right? But so I'm a big proponent of dual authentication.
Now, is that the same as 2FA? Two-factor, basically, where you will get a notification.
Two-factor dual authenticate is the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just, saying 6 one way, half dozen the other. So.
Now, I bought recently a company called Yubico, a YubiKey, and it's USB-C, plugs it. And the only USB-C thing I have really is my laptop, but it plugs into there. I still haven't figured out how to set it up yet.
So you're talking about a hardware authentication.
Hardware authentication,
right?
Yeah.
So more often than not, most two-factor stuff is software-based or app-based, right? But hardware identifiers or two factors are, it cycles through keys or randomly generates them, and you have to have the physical device on you when you log in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's setting it up is a little difficult. It's also NFC, which is pretty nice. But that's hopefully in the next couple of weeks to be able to get that going and figure out just how deep I can go with that. But I have been thinking, okay, password manager time. It was either go with Symantec, but everybody's saying 1Pass is really a good way to go.
Yeah.
A lot better than LastPass, right?
Yeah, LastPass. See, the thing is LastPass is a good product. If you're brand new to LastPass, I would say it's a pretty good product. However, a lot of us have used LastPass for years, and it's always been free. And then for them to come along and say, all right, now that we've got you hooked on our product, now we're going to start charging you. And if you don't pay, you're going to lose all your passwords.
That's kind of what happened to a lot of people.
That's basically what happened. And a lot of people said, nah, we're not going to do that. And they left LastPass.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Got some new toys, and I have a question for you guys. Trying to see about some advice of what I should do in one of these situations. One gets returned, one gets kept. I just figure out which one.
Just stay married, dude. Just stay married.
It's got nothing to do with that. Gloria will be happy to know that. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Find us on the web at techtalkradio.com. We'll be right back.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
Hi, this is Christopher Walken, and you're listening to Tech Talk Radio. I just think they talk kind of strange. It's going to be wild. Not as crazy as this show. Come on.
Right before the break, we were talking about security, right?
Yeah.
And we talked about password management, and we talked about two-factor and dual-factor authentication. But one thing we didn't touch base was with social engineering. Now, that might confuse people, right? Social engineering, what is that, right? That's me learning things about you to try and deduce your information, to deduce your passwords.
Is
right?
that kind of like
those?
Is that kind of like the old hacks we used to see on Facebook that would post questions in a survey, street you lived on,
Oh,
first
yeah, totally.
car, that whole
Absolutely.
bit. Is that kind of an early version of that?
Right. So think about that, right? So you took these surveys on Facebook that said, hey, what street you live on? What was your first pet's name? What was the name of your best man you're wedding, right? Now look at the questions that are on your bank's website for your security questions. They're identical.
Yeah.
All that information is out there. There is a concept called penetration testing, meaning a company will hire somebody to try and break into their system via any means. That can include social engineering. So this company hired a guy to do penetration testing, and his go-to was Krispy Kreme donuts. He went and got a stack of boxes of Krispy Kreme donuts and kind of obscured his face with the boxes and followed a couple other employees in saying, hey, can you guys point me to the break room? I got donuts for the break room, and worked his way in. And once he was in, set the donuts down and took his laptop, which he had concealed in one of the boxes.
There was no donuts.
There were no donuts. It was a ruse.
That's the biggest part of the crime.
So he finds a corner, plugs into an Ethernet jack with his computer, and gets in.
And it's in their network.
He was able to get an IP address. He was able to scan their network. He was able to get in. He was able to see things, and he did a little more probing. And the comment was, it's crazy because so many people will say, well, there's no way you should have been able to just plug in.
Yeah.
Yet here he was, plugged in, and just being the Krispy Kreme donut guy.
Did you guys ever?
Nobody stopped him. Nobody said anything. He just was in.
Did you guys ever see the movie Sneakers? It's a movie that came out back, I want to say,
I know about it.
the late 90s. It starred Robert Redford and James Earl Jones, River Phoenix. It had a great cast in it. And Ben Kingsley. And that's basically what it's about. It's about using social engineering and about hacking and sneakers, the whole bit. And if you guys ever get a chance to see that movie, please watch it and let me know what you guys think about it. Because that's what the entire movie is all about.
Have you ever heard of a show called Mr. Robot?
Yes, that's what it was about too.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. All right. I've got a little dilemma to ask you about.
Oh.
So I decided. You remember I ordered a Samsung, the Samsung Odyssey G9. It was a 49-inch ultra wide, and we got one in, and we had some issues with it. So we sent it back. Well, actually, I took it back. And then they told me you can go pick another one up at one of their other stores. So I go there. I come home. I get to carry this huge 49-inch monitor home. I hook it up. I put it on my desk. I pull off the cover of the monitor, power it up, and right there in the middle of the screen, it was just a burnt image. It was like something had completely been destroyed with that monitor. So I ended up taking it back, and I said, "It's it. I'm cutting my losses. I'm not going to get another 49."
You have had poor luck with monitors.
I have. I really have. So I finally decided I wanted to do a segment, and I was in Costco, and they had an LG 35-inch monitor in there with a 1800R curve, and I thought, well, that's kind of sweet. It's got a nice little curve to it. 35 inches, a little smaller than 49. When I put the 49 on the desk, it took up the whole desk. So I went ahead and I bought it. Now, this is a 3440 by 1440, so I didn't go 1080. It's 100 hertz, and it has I want to say a 5 millisecond refresh or 5 millisecond timing on it. I was able to pick it up when I was in the store. I went on to Amazon and I looked, and they were going for almost $600, and I got it for $445. And nice. That's pretty good. I like it because the monitor, if you saw the video I showed on Fox 11, you can lift it up and raise it down, and it goes up quite a bit. So you can get that right look to it. It has got a little tilt to it as well. Screen colors are looking great. The only thing I don't like is a little joystick that is underneath it. It doesn't have USB-C, which is fine. It has, of course, two HDMI ports, USB 3.1, and it has a display port, which is what I'm using. So I thought, this is good. I've been happy with it. So the other day, I'm on Amazon, and I find a Dell 34-inch, 3440 by 1440, but with 144 hertz refresh and a 1 millisecond timing on it. and and it was $360. So I went. I told Gloria, I said, well, maybe I can get it, and then maybe if I don't like it, I could send it back. So I got it. I just got it the other day. Now here's the deal: with Costco, I could take that back if I wanted to for $440. But I like the look. I like the raising and the lowering of it. This Dell, which I haven't opened yet because I was reading, with the Dell monitors, you could send them back no problem if you don't take them out of the box. Right? If you do, you may have to pay a restocking fee. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, does 100 hertz versus 144 hertz really make that much of a difference? I mean, that much of a difference if I'm only running a 1060 graphics card?
That's a tough question. I don't know the answer to that. I mean,
if you're only running a card,
yeah, I'm not running a 2080 or a 3080 or
my gut instinct would just be to say that if you're running a card that's not even capable.
If I was playing games, that's where you look at that, 100 hertz versus 144 hertz.
If you're getting 1440 at 100, then what do you mean? What's the?
So I'm wondering, do I send back the LG, which I kind of like the design, and just go with this Dell because it's 144 hertz and 1 millisecond timing? Is it going to matter that much?
Well, okay, so you're not much of a gamer.
No.
So the latency is not going to be that much of a deal to you.
Right.
Is the LG cheaper than the Dell?
No, the LG was more expensive. So by taking the LG back, I get like an extra $60 in my pocket. But it's not one of those things.
I would say, yeah, do that.
You would say keep the Dell and take the LG back?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just thinking performance-wise.
What did you get out of the LG?
It looks good.
Did you run like a benchmark on it to figure out how many frames per second? Or
no,
you need to use 3D Mark. Use
3D Mark? Okay.
Yeah. Do a performance test on 3D Mark. Figure out what your benchmarks are with both the LG and the Dell. And then I think that'll give you a better idea. But honestly, if you're not a hardcore gamer, if you're not needing the best frame rate with the best resolution, in your situation, I think the Dell would be just fine. Keep the extra money.
Yeah. For the business person, I have to keep that extra money because I bought something. I'm going to show you guys now what I bought, and I bought my first one. I didn't get it for Christmas. I didn't get it for my birthday, so I said, "That's it. I got to get it myself." I got myself the DJI, Mini 3 Pro.
All right, Shawn, you're batter up.
Yeah. Now I know Shawn is a lover of drones.
That's perfect. Like for you, for what you're going to want to get with that, that's perfect. And the minis are fantastic, right? So DJI really made, they really took the market by storm when they released the Mavic originally, right? The Mavic. Yeah. But before they released the Mavic, they actually released another one called the Spark, which was a fixed wing, so you couldn't fold it, right? So it was actually bigger than that one is folded up.
What about the Phantom?
The Phantom was huge, right? The Spark was only probably 4 or 5 inches across.
Oh, I see. You're saying a mini drone, but it was fixed wing.
Yeah, they made a mini drone called the Spark, which they don't make anymore because it just didn't sell well. It sold okay, but it was more money than what people were interested in selling, and it wasn't stabilized. It didn't have a gimbal, right? All that stuff. So then they released the Mavic, which sold immensely well because of the portability. You could pack it up, put it in your backpack. It was you could take it with you on your carry-on. It made sense. Then they started then they had the Mavic Air and the Mavic, the Mavic 2, and then now they're under the Mavic 3, which has a cinema version and a HD version and a 4K version, and now they have the Mini, which for Andy is perfect.
Does 60 frames per second 4K. It does the vertical aspect video. So if I want to start using it for TikTok or vertical stuff like that, I can use it for that. 34 minutes flight time with this battery that's a part of it. But I went ahead and got the RC version. So there's two. You can get this version and one that does not have the RC with the screen. This has...
Here's what I'm going to say about this. The one with the RC, if you're traveling, get the one with the RC, because what happens if you forget to download the app and you get to where you're going and you're on this 7-mile hike out in the middle of nowhere and you're planning this beautiful shot where you're going to propose to your girlfriend and you got the drone, you You pick up the drone, you're ready to go. You don't have the app installed.
I'm pretty sure if you're going to do something that crazy, you would probably have the app downloaded. But I get your point.
Yeah. The screen
But
itself,
you don't think about it, right?
Let me tell you about this, is a 5.5-inch screen, does 1080p on the screen. And I can't tell you enough how easy this is to fly. I got it charged up, took about an hour and a half, took it out of the box. The documentation is the worst, though. I will tell you that. Same with that LG monitor. The documentation is beginning, because they want you to go to the web. But I got the update. The update took a bit of a while. And honestly, I went through the setup and I pushed a button and it just went up 3 feet and hovered.
Yep.
And then it has a home button, so you can hit home and it actually landed. And then apparently when you're flying, if you get to a certain part and it's going to run out of battery before it could make it back home, it will automatically return to home.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. I've not been able to fly it outdoors yet. I've only flown it indoors, kind of just testing it out and just but I can't believe the shot that I got.
Much to the chagrin of Gloria, right?
Well, no, she loved it. I mean, she's really liking it.
All that airflow blowing all the dust around, though?
No, it doesn't do that. But it was cool because
mine did.
To have, you had the huge drone. This is really small. I mean,
yeah, you're right.
But to have it go, you can move it very easily sideways, and the camera can lock onto a fixed area. So it's almost doing a dolly shot that you would see in a movie. I mean, I'm really impressed with it. They're pricey, $909 for this guy. But again, my first drone, and it should be a lot of fun.
Tell you right away.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta register it.
Register it. Yeah.
Gotta register it. So it's super easy. FAAdronezone.com. I know that sounds ridiculous.
Right?
FAAdronezone.com. Just go there. It'll step-by-step walk you through how to register it. You'll get an FAA number. You'll get an account. It'll guide you on where you can and can't fly. It's just a super basic rundown of the rules and regulations on what you can do. And my best advice to you, and this is when I went through the training back in 2013, I went through all the training because it was super hard to get your license. I actually had to go take pilot training and all this stuff. It was crazy. The guy at the airport in Grand Rapids, Michigan, the FAA guy who dealt with all the drone stuff, his biggest advice to me was, don't be an idiot.
There you go. Yeah.
If you're doing something stupid with a drone, you're flying over people, you're flying where you're not supposed to be, you're going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
But if you're just out and you're flying in your backyard and you're up 20, 30 feet, you're not doing anything stupid, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I just want to have fun with it. Maybe get some good looking video.
Let me ask you though, is it still that hard to get your part, your part 7, whatever license they call it?
So it used to be the part 333, then it kind of morphed into the part 107. And now it's all called the LANC, which is LAANC, low altitude air something. You can sign up for that. You go through the steps. You still have to take a test. You still have to get registered. You still have to do some
But
stuff.
you don't have to basically be a private pilot to fly one of these.
Correct. I don't have to go and take a test at the airport with somebody watching me and then to get a stamp on it and to get it notarized and all this. It was crazy, right? So no, they've made it very easy and it's automated, right? So now all I have to do, Andy, if you wanted to use it for Tech Talk or you wanted to use it for your radio, you can get automated requests saying you go in, pick where you want to fly, you fill out all your information, when you're going to fly, how long you're going to fly, height, all that stuff, and it'll automatically say, no, can't fly here today due to this.
Okay.
Or it'll say, yeah, you're registered to fly there, and it gives you a time. So then you can print that out and take it with you or have it on the phone, and you go to that spot and you fly.
Very cool.
They've made it very easy for people who are making money by flying drones to do this type of thing. Where when I first started back in, 9 years ago almost, right, it was very difficult. And nobody really knew what the rules were and where you could fly and where you couldn't fly. And it caused caused quite a bit of chaos, right? So but
that's why I stopped doing it.
What's the website address again?
There's two I'm going to give you. So
all right.
FAAdronezone.com.
All right.
From there, you can find the other websites with the link LAANC.
Excellent.
And that'll give you the kind of the rules on what you need to do, and it kind of gives you a timeline of what it takes to get to where you can actually use it for commercial use.
All right, we can take another quick break. We come back, games. Justin is getting more fun with his games. There's a couple of new ones that have been out, and one of them lets you kind of mess around and play around with the characters in it. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin. Let me find us on Facebook, facebook.com/Tech Talkers. We'll be right back.
Now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
I have been playing again. I'm getting back into it. It's called Star Citizen.
All right.
Shawn, you have Star Citizen, right?
I believe I have the Founders Edition. I don't. I'd have to go honestly log in and see if I haven't logged into it. When you and I got into it back in 2011,
Yeah.
we both bought the Founders Edition. I'd have to log back in and figure it out.
This is a game that has been out for a long time. It was actually 2014, technically still an alpha, and it's going on almost 10 years of it being an alpha. Now, granted, the very beginning, you couldn't do anything. Now, this is a space simulator. In the very, very beginning, you couldn't even fly ships. You could buy a ship and then go into the hangar and walk around it and look at it, but you couldn't even get in your own ship. That's how basic it was at that time. But a lot has happened in the past 8 years. Now, Star Citizen, although it still has a lot of bugs, it has become a very, very playable game. And again, just even 2 years ago, if you would have asked me the same question, I would have said, nope, not at all. It's not a playable game. Don't even worry about it. It's starting to get better. Now, this is not one of those No Man's Sky type of things where a developer was making a game and the publisher said, you got to release it right now. And the developer says, it's not ready. And the publisher says, we don't care, release it. It's not one of those situations. This is being funded and developed by Chris Roberts. He is the founder of Roberts Space Industries, which has in the past released legendary games such as Wing Commander and Privateer.
I remember Wing Commander.
These are games that went back to the 386 days.
Oh, yeah. They spawned a movie off that. You remember that?
Yeah. Yep. And I played Wing Commander. I played Privateer. I loved it. It was amazing. So just to hear that Chris Roberts was behind this, I'm like, I'm all in. And I spent $100 on the game. I'm sorry. I take that back. I spent $70 on the game to buy.
I think it was like you could buy a couple different tiers of things, right?
Basically, what ship do you want to buy to get into the game? Because technically the game is free, but you can't do anything without a ship. So you got to kind of have to buy a ship to start with. So that's where it becomes like, okay, I have to buy the ship. So I bought a $70 ship. And recently I got back into the game. I'm like, wow, this has gotten a lot better. It's cool, but I don't like my ship. So I found a way you can actually return the ship. I can return it, get store credit, and then buy another ship. And I'm like, okay, let's do that. So I returned the ship. I got $65 of store credit. So basically they took $5 away from me for the usage of the previous ship, right? I went online, I looked at their website, and I found another ship that was worth $120. Real money. Well, I'm like, well, heck, I've already got $65 in store credit. I can do this. I can spend another $65 or whatever, right? So I go to purchase it. I hit the checkout button, purchase complete. I look at my Venmo, because that's where I purchased it from, my Venmo account. It says, you've been charged $120. I'm like, wait, what?
Uh-oh.
I go to look at it. I forgot to use the store credit. So immediately I reached out to the help guys. I'm like, hey, I opened up a help desk ticket. I'm like, hey, can you just go ahead and refund this? And then I'll repurchase it again with the store credit. They got back to me the next day and said, I'm sorry, sir. At this point, all purchases are final. Ooh.
Ouch.
So I just dropped $120 on a ship. Awesome. So what did I do with that other $65 in my store credit account? Well, I bought another ship.
Now you got two. It's perfect.
Now I've got two ships. I've got an attack ship / cargo, and I've got what I can refer to as an RV in space.
Nice.
A space RV, not Spaceballs.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Winnebago from Spaceballs.
No, this is much nicer. This is like the luxury Winnebago or the luxury, what are those silver-sided ones that everybody, Airstream.
The Airstreams?
Yeah. Airstream. It's like one of those, but it's literally just an RV in space. It's got a coffee maker, a stove, 2 beds, and it's a spaceship.
All right.
That's all
I'm
it's for.
going to start calling you Lone Star.
Yeah,
there you go. Lone Star, right? So I got back into it. I'm playing it, but I'll tell you, honestly, I have spent more time just getting my joystick ready. And honestly, the joystick, take a look at our webcast or video cast here, because I'm going to show this. This is my throttle quadrant, right? You got all these little buttons on here. Hat switches, dials, buttons, turn knobs, things like that. You have to memorize every single thing what those do. I was sitting here trying to figure out which one was my landing gear, and I'm hitting these hat switches, and I hit the one for self-destruct.
Oh. Oops.
Yep.
Oops.
Yep. It hit self-destruct, boom, blew up in the sky. So instead of using these, I unbound all of my keys from the hat switches.
All right.
Right? No more hat switches. Instead, what I've done is I'm using my Stream Deck.
Hey, that's kind of cool.
So the Stream Deck is that 15-key hotkey system that I talked about where I got for my trivia night. A lot of streamers, almost every streamer online uses one of these to throw up
use
graphics.
Them for control. We use them for control at work too.
Yeah, you can change cameras. You can use them to do effects. You can do all kinds of stuff. It's basically just an added 15-key hotkey system to your computer. I downloaded a profile that's made for Star Citizen. Now, it's a little bit hard to see this in this, but if I wanted to go to power mode, now here's my button right here for powering up all my systems. I go back home, go to weapons. There's my weapon systems, all my buttons for weapon systems. Go back home. I got my targeting systems right here. Oh, actually, this is emergency.
So it's easier
There's
to
my self-destruct right
easier
there.
to bind with the Stream Deck than it was the throttle joystick controller.
Yes, because all these buttons are LED backlit and they have labels on them.
Right.
So I know what button I'm pressing. If I want to go to lower my gear, I know that I can press this button right here and then press this button right here for my gear. If I want to take off automatically, boom, I hit that button right there. Because everything is labeled. Stream Deck is amazing.
So I'm going to blow your mind on the Stream Deck, right?
Okay.
There's a program you can get called it's called BitFocus Companion. Andy, you're going to get this too, because I'm going to walk you through how to set it up to control your ATEM. It is a software that you install on your computer, and it emulates Stream Deck. You don't need a Stream Deck. Now, you can use the Stream Deck with this, but then you can pair it with all sorts of hardware, other hardware devices that you can control from your web browser. And as long as you have a device connected to your local LAN, you can set it up on an iPad, you can set it up on a tablet, you can set it up on a phone, and control, just like a Stream Deck, all from this BitFocus Companion.
Now, where do you get this from?
Just Google BitFocus Companion. It's bitfocus.fr or something. It's a French website.
Does this cost money to use the BitFocus?
$0.
I like that price.
Really? But how?
So
okay, so you put it on an iPad. How do you connect it to your computer? You have a application running on your computer that
yes, there's an application running on your computer. The application runs. You configure it using a GUI. It pops up in a web browser. I use it to control our switchers at work. I use it to control PTZ cameras at work. I use it to control and fire graphics from our expressions at work. Andy, you had mentioned a couple weeks ago, like, I want to use the ATEM more, but it's a pain to run graphics and stuff. I don't have it set up, but I meant to before we started. I could hit the button and it would pop up a graphic over top of me.
Nice.
Very
because
cool.
I tell it, you have to connect it to my ATEM, and I did that already. And I'll do it in the break, and I'll show you. But
all right,
BitFocus Companion. Get it. It's going to blow your mind. And it is a game changer for my industry, and I've learned so much about it over the last couple weeks.
Justin, you just recently migrated to AMD. You haven't got yourself a graphics card yet, a Radeon yet. You're looking at that, right?
I'm still sticking with the NVIDIA RTX 2080.
All right.
Ti.
Earlier this week, a couple new games, since we're on that subject, have been announced. There's one called Death Stranding, which originally came out.
Yeah,
it was a PS4 game back in 2019, won a ton of awards, and even stars Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead as one of the characters in the game, right?
Yep.
Lindsay Wagner, remember her as the Bionic Woman? You guys might be too young for that. She's one of the voices in the game as well. That came out for the PC Game Pass. So from what I understand, they're now porting PlayStation games for PC users to enjoy. Is that what PC Game Pass is?
So you're talking about the Microsoft Game Pass?
Yes.
You can, certain games that were available for Xbox, you can put on your PC, or you can stream your Xbox games from your PC.
I didn't think Death Stranding was an Xbox title, though. I thought it was just strictly PS4.
PS4, PS5, but Microsoft has now gained the rights to certain games.
Okay.
There's this whole thing going on. Speaking of PlayStation with Xbox, and we don't need to get too far into it, but there is something going on with PlayStation. Apparently, I saw a news article. that Sony was actually paying developers extra money on the side to prevent them from releasing the game on Xbox. So they were paying them for that. But now Microsoft has said, we got some other tricks up our sleeve. But they're bringing some games, PlayStation exclusives, back to Microsoft now,
which is cool. I like that. So PC Game Pass, you'll be able to do that. Saints Row, that's a game I've heard of before. That's also being talked about this week, right?
Yes, but before you talk about that, I do need to mention one thing. There is a difference between PC Game Pass and Xbox Game Pass.
All right. What
now,
is that?
Even if you get the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, doesn't mean you can put all of your Xbox games on your PC. You can play some of those games. Yes, your PC may come with an Xbox app, but it doesn't get to play all of the Xbox games. However, if you have an Xbox and you have the games on the Xbox, like Shawn said, you can stream your Xbox games to your PC and play them on the PC. But if you want them locally installed on your PC, there's that whole different catalog of games that you can buy.
All right. The other game that was announced was Spider-Man Remastered.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody loves the Spider-Man games. I have not personally played
great.
any of them.
Oh, my gosh. They're so good.
I have a coworker that swears up and down by the Spider-Man games.
It's crazy because the original Spider-Man, the latest one or whatever that came out for the PlayStation, came out right around the time that my family went to New York City. And we walked around Manhattan. We walked around to different parks and things like that. In the game, in the actual Spider-Man game, I could actually go and visit those parks. It was real. I could actually see those parks
that is
in
cool.
the game.
Right.
It was a real rendition of Manhattan. So it's a really good game.
This one is
Absolutely
available
good game.
on Steam and the Epic Game Store, and it has some mods in there where you can actually play as Stan Lee, which is it's kind of cool because they have a video up on YouTube. If you do a search for Stan Lee with animation Spider-Man mod, you'll be able to check out the video there. And it's like you're watching it, and the graphics are so good in these games now. It looked like Stan Lee was standing right in front of you.
Stan Lee as Spider-Man. I mean, that's really cool.
Yeah, it is. All right, we're going to take another quick break. We'll come back. Website of the week. We'll be back with more of Tech Talk Radio. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
I'm Eric Remy. Find us at techtalkradio.com.
Damn, he's getting it down. That's good.
We'll be right back.
Now, that's just too cute.
And now, back to Tech Talk Radio.
And we have our website of the week. Of course, Justin has got another great website for us to check out.
I think we mentioned this years ago, but more and more people are cutting the cord, and they're trying to get rid of their streaming services as well, and going back to what could possibly just simply be over the air.
Right.
So if you're interested in doing that, and you're not quite sure where your stations come from, where do I want to point my antenna if I have an antenna? One good website for that is rabbitears.info. So rabbit ears, the old rabbit ear antennas that we used to have. Yeah, so rabbitears.info. You can look up your local listings, and then you can actually find a map of where the signal comes from, so you can go ahead and point your antenna that particular direction. But you can also there's a lot of extra stuff on here. There's also a whole listing of ATSC 3.0 stations. So you can know what stations in what areas support ATSC 3, which is the new format for TV over the air.
Now I'm wondering,
So again,
do you know of and I don't know if they have this on the site, of an over-the-air DVR? Is there such a thing? Because I was thinking about cutting the cord, and I thought, well, if I cut the cord,
well, Plex does it.
Does it do over-the-air?
Yeah, well, you have to have an HD home run.
Okay.
So it's HD home run is a little box that you buy. You plug your antenna into it, and then it plugs into the internet, and it downloads the TV guide, and then you connect your Plex service to the HD home run. So the Plex will tell HD home run, hey, at this time on this day, tune to channel 7.1 or whatever your channel is, and record this show.
Nice.
And then it loads it into your Plex library.
Very cool. In what format? MP4?
I think it's MP4. Yeah, MP4. But it's good. I mean, it's nearly just as good as over the air would be. So HD Home Run is a product. It costs about $100, and then you get an over-the-air antenna. You plug it into the HD Home Run, and then you plug your HD Home Run into your network, and then you connect your Plex service, your Plex server,
Right.
which you're going to have either your local PC or you have a network area storage like I have, the Synology NAS.
Right.
You connect that to the Plex, and then the Plex will record those shows for you.
All right, we're out of time, but that website address again is
rabbitears.info.
Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Of course, hopefully by next week I haven't destroyed my drone, but I'm going to use Shawn's tips that he gave us earlier. We'll have those on the website as well. Thank you, Shawn. We'll be back with more of the Tech Talk Radio next week. I'm Andy Taylor.
I'm Shawn DeWeird.
And I'm Justin Lemmy. Have yourselves a great week. Hit us up on the web, techtalkradio.com. See you.